So my last video got suppressed, so we're gonna see if we have any luck with this one in reaching the audience on YouTube. Ultimately, why are banks suddenly closing customers' accounts is a question that I'm receiving a whole lot more often. Asking you guys, do me a favor, drop a comment. What bank do you entrust with your money, your savings, your paycheck, your direct deposits, retirement savings, investments? Is it Bank of America or Chase Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, PNC Bank, or maybe it's a credit union? But just drop a comment down below, let me know. Or better yet, how about an online bank with no physical brick and mortar locations like Chime? Now, we've discussed Chime on previous videos, which is actually not really a bank. In case you haven't seen it, go check it out after you're done watching this one. Or are you allowing Cash App to hold your money hostage, or better yet, maybe Google Pay, Apple Pay, or Goldman Sachs? But seriously, what happens when the bank suddenly closes your account without warning? Do you know? What do you do? And better yet, why did the bank close your account to begin with? And you know that your bank may not actually notify you that it has closed your account, but it normally isn't required to do so, which is a little disturbing. And I know what you're all thinking, and that is, what's the answer to the question of, is a bank required to return your money? And do they charge any fees or charges? Will the banks return your money in the form of a check, or will it be something else? And in some cases, your bank may close an account and switch it to a different type of account altogether. Now, we have lots of questions that we need answers to. So do me a favor, smash that like button and make sure to check out the links in the description for the best ways to buy gold and silver, and also connect directly with me for content that I don't upload to YouTube. And we can even go back and forth and have far more in-depth conversations on what's happening and how I'm planning and preparing for the future. For example, there's been a recent release by the president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, where she exposed how there will be limitations on cash transactions set at 1,000 euros. I have so much that I want to share with you guys and discuss about this news report, this leak, this possible prank or truth to this prank, first exposed on Rumble and also shared on Fox News with Tucker Carlson here recently, which we apparently aren't going to see any more of him on Fox News, just all of a sudden. And most importantly, what this could potentially mean for us here in America as the US's own version of CBDC, central bank digital currency, rolls out after the FedNow system goes live in July. So Chase Bank is closing customer accounts, okay? Let's talk about Chase Bank and any bank for that matter. Supposedly, suspicious activity is triggering abrupt account closures, leading to customers discovering something is wrong when they try to spend their money. And you may not think that it could happen to you, but a bank generally can close your account at any time and for any reason, and sometimes without notifying you in advance. And some of the reasons that a bank may shut down your account include using your account very little or not at all, or bouncing too many checks. Now, granted, this may be a thing of the past, as eventually cash, checks, they'll all be phased out. We'll be moving on to digital currencies and tokens. But in the meantime, people still use them. Actually, I had to go get a check just the other day. I had to go to the bank, walk in, talk to a teller, get a cashier's check. But how many people actually still write checks, like on a regular basis? Comment down below. Yet, while it may come as a shock when you bank and you go to your bank and your account is closed, you can take steps after that happens to safeguard your money, which is going to be very important. And more importantly, you can make some moves to help ensure that the bank never closes your account, which would be ideal. US banks are slamming the doors on innocent customers with zero notice, and US banks are abruptly closing innocent customers' accounts without warning. And it's just becoming more and more commonplace and somewhat of the norm now. Now, imagine this. Try going out to dinner and reaching to pay for dinner using your Chase Bank card, check card, credit card, and only to find out the hard way that your debit card's been declined, only to call the bank, and after wading through all the complicated and intentionally confusing prompts and voice recognition selections, only to finally reach a lower level, lowest tier support agent who is probably working remotely in India, the Philippines, or some Fiverr job gig in Tijuana, Mexico. And all they can tell you is that Chase has ultimately let you go, and a notice should be in the mail. That's really assuring. So the banks close your accounts, and now you're left alone, all alone, in the dark and waiting to see what happens. Just what the heck will happen next? Why did they do that? What did you do wrong? What was the cause if this is unexpected activity? I mean, you could attempt to try and go and visit the bank if there's an actual physical brick and mortar location, only to be met by a bank manager at the door, quickly ushered through the lobby vestibule and handed off to a Chase Bank teller or attendant who will cut you a cashier's check, maybe a young lady working behind the counter as a bank teller, giving you the remainder balance of your account minus any additional closing fees with no further explanation. I mean, damn, this is just how they're doing, folks, okay? And you're probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck just happened to me? I mean, I've been living here and an account holder in the US since 2003, over 20 years with this bank, and my family too. They would want us all to believe that the recent rise and the huge wave of such bank account closures appear to be connected to efforts to catch illicit activity. Do you really expect me to believe that? Now, let's go through a quick rundown of the possible reasons why the bank closed your account, because your bank may shut down your account for several reasons, and they include, but are not limited to, a dormant account, a zero balance, bounce checks or overdrafts, too many transfers, too many withdrawals, cash, suspected identity theft, criminal conviction, high-risk occupation. Remember the informal industries, the informal businesses that I was talking to you about? And changes at the bank themselves. A bank might close your account if you get into a business that the bank deems high risk. And this may include particular arms sales, perhaps marijuana sales, online betting, or possibly even escort services. And if your bank stops doing business in your state, shuts down branches in your area, or exits the banking business altogether, it may very well close your account for those reasons. Or in the case of JPMorgan Chase and the huge Wall Street bank calling it quits with Kanye West after he quote unquote crossed the line, is what they said. Or also how Chase Bank allegedly shuttered bank accounts of Religious Freedom nonprofit and demanded the National Committee for Religious Freedom to reveal a donor list if it wanted its account back. And there's a rise in increased banking troubles and problems with accounts being just suddenly and abruptly closed. Closures of savings and checking accounts overnight. New research shows that various types of fraud are on the rise at financial institutions across all payment types. The Banking Policy Institute says just 4% of suspicious activity reports submitted by banks to law enforcement result in a follow-up. And an extremely small number of the follow-ups result in arrests and convictions. So people are just out here taking money, okay? And oftentimes, even after being contacted for additional information, banks like Chase, who are under investigation for closing customer accounts, ultimately could not confirm that they had done anything wrong. And back in 2014, U.S. law enforcement agencies slapped Chase with more than $2 billion, billion with a B, in fines for violating the Bank Security Act and failing to report suspicious activity connected to the infamous scammer Bernie Madoff's billion-dollar Ponzi scheme. So Chase has paid more than $36 billion in fines for financial offenses and also employee offenses as well, competition violations, toxic security abuses, mortgage abuses, anti-money laundering deficiencies, and additional violations since 2000, according to the financial violations tracker from Good Jobs First. So you guys can go check it out if you want more information. But the bottom line is that there are many reasons why a bank may close your account, including fraud, inactivity, or too many overdrafts. When a bank closes an account, it sends a notice in the mail detailing the reasons for closures and what actions you must take to have the account reopened if possible. And if you don't receive a notification or explanation, then you may want to reach out to your bank immediately.